It's a joy to be with you on this Tuesday of the Word of Encouragement. And today I'd like to go to Psalm 78. It's a long psalm, and it speaks of how God worked on the nation of Israel's behalf over and over and over. And we have the great accounts of how God worked in Egypt, how he divided the Red Sea, how he led with his very presence, with the cloud of glory during the daytime and the fiery pillar at night, that he caused streams to come out of rocks so that they had water in a wilderness that had no water. And yet, in the midst of all of that, they tempted the Lord because they didn't believe they had enough. They wanted more meat. And they spoke against the Lord, even when he smote the rock and the waters gushed out. And verse 22 is so significant, because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation. And it goes on to talk about the manna and all of the things, angels' food. He caused the east wind to blow from heaven and meet their needs. But they believed not in God. And the verse before is very sobering. Therefore the Lord heard this and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel. Now, why do I give this on the word of encouragement? Well, the fact of life for us as believers is that God's blessings all revolve around how we respond. Do we believe God, and do we trust him? Now, God's always working on our behalf. He is always drawing us to him. But when we get fearful and anxious and do not trust him and forget about all that he's done in the past and are fearful about what he's going to do in the future, well, that means we're going to lose at that time the blessing of God, because he cannot bless us and he's got to work. He may have to chasten us because he wants us to get back into a trusting relationship with him. And the way this can encourage us is that even if we may be up and down and around in our lives, if we are daily endeavoring to trust him for our needs, we're praying for our daily bread, we tell the Lord how we know he is God and that he is a God that keeps his promises. And even in our frailty, if we look to him, well, we know then that God is going to be pleased, and we will not have this kind of reaction. God simply wants us to be thrilled with what he has done and to know that he will do it in the future, to be thankful for his word, and we can always stay encouraged. We don't have to fear God's dealing. The only way we get in a place where we lose the blessing of God is when we won't trust him and we find ourselves murmuring against God. That's when we lose the blessing. So keep a simple trust in the Lord. And I promise you, if you keep a simple trust in the Lord, you will also keep encouragement in your heart.